Hey guys, so today we're going to take a look at two different digital audio players that came out like 10 years ago, back in 2016 and 2018 respectively actually. So yeah, let's take a look at the first one here. So this one, I don't have the original box for it unfortunately, but this is the Pioneer XDP-300R. It's a digital audio player by the Japanese corporation Pioneer, who mostly makes AV receivers now, but back in the day they made a lot of other products as well, including digital audio players. And in fact, I had the original Pioneer XDP-100R, one of my first digital audio players. I think it actually was my first high-res digital audio player that I did an unboxing of back in 2016. So this is the successor, the 300R, that came out a year later in 2017. And is quite similar to the 100R in many ways. And this is really a throwback for me because, yeah, it's been a long time since I held the Pioneer XDP-100R. So looking at the 300R, it's pretty much the same in terms of form factor. The only major difference is that it doesn't have like those little the little bumpers that the 100R came with. But otherwise, it's pretty similar form factor. So I'll give you guys a rundown of the specs here. So this is an old digital audio player from 10 years ago, right? So it runs an old version of Android. In fact, it runs Android 5.1, which was already outdated by that time. But digital audio players always have outdated versions of Android. So yeah, this runs Android 5.1, which can only download very old. It can only download very old apps now. But I think you can still make it work by side-loading old apps onto it. The touchscreen here is a 4.7-inch 1280 by 720 IPS display. It has Bluetooth, but I'm not sure what version it is. It supports aptX, but not aptX HD or LDAC. And the DAC inside of this is 2ES9018K2M. So the upgrade from this over the 100R is that the XDP-100R had only one ES9018K2M. This has two, which gives it essentially the same specs as the Onkyo DPX1. That's another digital audio player that came out around the same time as 100R. I think the only major difference was the UI and interface and layout was a bit different. The music player was a bit different, and it was using two ES9018 K2M instead of just one. Now the XDP-300R, this one right here, also uses two ES9018 K2M, so that makes it essentially the same as the Onkyo DPX1. And the output power is 75 milliwatts on the unbalanced and 150 milliwatts on the balanced. So that is pretty low, especially if you compare it to modern DAPs. Yeah, 150 watts on the balanced is pretty anemic, I would say, and 75 watts even more so on the unbalanced. But still should be enough to drive IEMs, which is how I'll be using this thing. Let's take a look at the exterior here. So yeah, we got a 4.7-inch display here, which was kind of the norm for smartphones back in the day. I kind of dislike the fact that smartphones are so huge nowadays. That was a trend starting from iPhone 6 Plus actually. But yeah, 4.7 inches, I think this was the right size for smartphones back then, and still is now, to be honest. It's still very, very grippable, you know? Nowadays, I think smartphones have gotten way too large. But anyways, I like the form factor. It's pretty grippable. It's all aluminum here. It's milled out of a nice aluminum block here, so it feels very premium. It says, yeah, right here on the edge, it says high resolution. Audio player has one volume dial on the side here, which is gold colored. This is different than the XDP-100R, which was just a silver colored dial. So you get an upgrade to a gold colored dial on the 300R. It says twin DAC right here on the side because the original 100R only had one DAC. This has two. And back here it says Pioneer. Right. So Pioneer, well, they're, as a brand, I think they really have gone down a lot, just like a lot of Japanese brands. But back in the day, they were highly respected, making like TVs and, yeah, DVD players, Blu-ray players, CD players, AV receivers and stuff. Nowadays, I think they're pretty much only making receivers and maybe some sound bars, I think. But they really went down a lot from their past, like just like a lot of Japanese brands like Hitachi or Sharp, Sony, Toshiba, right? The heydays of Japanese brands really was back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, right? Yeah, by the 2000s you have Chinese brands and Korean brands catching up. Let's see, it doesn't have anything here. I think it used to have something here, but it doesn't have anything, no lettering here. On the 100R, it did have something, I remember. Anyways, solid aluminum, so pretty nice feeling. And then on the right side here, we got our controls. So we got power button right here, and we got previous track, play, pause, and next track. We got 2 SD card slots, which is nice. These days you don't see 2 SD card slots on DAPs anymore, but back in the day you actually saw 2 SD card slots on some DAPs, because the reason is because back in 2016, 2017, when this was released, the maximum storage of an SD card, of a micro SD card back then, was 256 gigs. So that means that if you get 2, you can store up to 512 gigabytes right here. Nowadays, it's not so necessary to have 2 anymore, because you have 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte SD cards now. So you got much higher capacity SD cards. But back then, because the maximum capacity was only 256 gigs, that's why you had 2 SD card slots back then. Now, I'm not sure if these can accept 1 terabyte or even 512. I haven't tried it. But yeah, if the maximum is 256 gigs, then it makes sense why it has 2. So the original XDP-300R actually only had 2 as well. I think they got rid of the speaker, right? Yeah. One of the reasons why I liked the XDP-300R back then was because it didn't have, it did have a speaker. So that means that I can play some music on it, and I don't have to use the headphone jack. If I want to just listen to the music and kind of share it with other people, I can do it, because it was just kind of like a smartphone. It had a speaker. Not many DAPs have speakers, but the XDP-300R did. This one does not. So this is just like the Onkyo DPX1. Really, it's pretty much the same as the Onkyo DPX1. Same DAC. And yeah, no speaker here. Micro USB right here. This is the standard for 2016, right? USB-C only just started coming out in 2016. So this being a 2017 device, yeah, it still uses micro USB. And essentially, it uses the same exact design as the Onkyo DPX1. So they did not change this out. Still micro USB here. And on top, you got 3.5 millimeter and a 2.5 millimeter balanced. So you got to remember that back in 2016, 2017, around that era, 2.5 millimeter was a competing standard for balanced connection. Nowadays, you don't see that anymore. You see 4.4. But back then, 2.5 was a competing standard, and players like Astel and Kern and some Japanese players really pushed it. So yeah, it's using 2.5 here. And that means I'll have to use an adapter, but oh well. And then yeah, on the left side, you just have this volume knob here. All right, let's turn it on, see what it's about. Okay, so you come across with the fairly standard looking Android 5.1 operating system right here. All right, so it boots up into Android 5.1. It's been a while since I've seen Android 5.1, but it's fairly standard Android 5 here, so not too much of a skin or anything. Yeah, let me check here. Remember Android 5, guys? This has been a long time. So yeah, 5.1.1 right there. Okay, but it's still fairly speedy and not really that laggy or anything, so it's all right. At least for playing music, you don't need something that's too modern. So here we go into the music player. I already loaded an SD card up, and you can play track right here, and we can select our playback screen actually. So I'll go with this one. There's one that was there's one that's like full screen right here, which is cool, but I think I'm more used to this one. The playback controls down the bottom, so go with that one. So this is the Pioneer music player that it comes built in with. So it actually looks really nice. This is a nice music player. So it's very responsive. You can just drag along if you want to scrub tracks. You see the album art cover right here. You can see more information about the tracks, the sample rate, genre, composer, year, format. And then you can kind of shuffle it if you want, or go to next track. You can choose to go sequence or repeat. Yeah, so you can go sequence or shuffle. This is equalizer. You can turn that on. So right now, what preset is flat right here. So I guess we can change that equalizer later, but you can turn on and off the EQ right here. Next track, previous track, play, pause. You can add it to a playlist right here. And here you can do sound settings. So DSP function, lock range adjust, digital filter. So digital filter here, sharp, slow, and short are our 3 options. We have more options on modern DACs, but for the ES9018K2M, that's our options there. Upsampling mode, we can upsample our tracks right here. There's similar technologies for Acetone Current Sony players as well. So you can sample everything up to 96 kilohertz, 192. Actually, 96 kilohertz to 192 kilohertz. Okay. Yep. Upsampling upper limit. Over USB, you can do up to 384. Okay. Club sound boost. Boost bass frequencies, light mod. It's funny how they call this club sound boost. Well, I guess for clubs, yeah, they do make the bass quite high, right? In clubs. Echo mode. Off, boost 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, light, moderate, or heavy. So this is essentially a bass boost. If you want to have a bass boost, you have club sound boost right here. External device, so we can connect for external USB devices here. I guess if you use this as a USB DAC, it's possible, right? So that you have that, change playback screen mode. SNS, okay. And there's our different options here. Yeah. And I think we can look at lyrics as well, right? If we tap on that again. Okay, well anyways, it's cool that the entire background actually changes to the current playing track. So if I do keep playing the track, let's go back into here. Okay, and you get to see like a little bit of a visualizer here as well on the bottom. I actually do like this music player. It's pretty good. It's done pretty well, and I'm not sure how many units Onkyo/Pioneer sold of these, but yeah. I like the music player here. I'm not sure if you can still get it. Maybe not, right? I'm not sure how long this app was available on the App Store or something. Like, technically, any Android phone would have been able to download this app at the time, because it is just an Android app, right? But, yeah, pleasantly surprised about how nice it looks. So that's the Pioneer Music app right there. Let's see. What else can we do here? Settings. Yeah, so you can do auto sync for HD library, music folders. You can select which folders you use to scan. You can sync it for just scanning. Crossfade, gain setting. You can do a -3 dB adjust volume of DSD to PCM conversion. Okay, I don't play DSDs. Always keep screen on. Bounced for output audio route. Switch for USB devices. DSD output format, PCM, DOP, or direct transfer, you can do that. DOP pause operation. I don't know too much about this output DSD0. I don't know what that is. Output DSD3, 6 megahertz via DOP, real-time DSD conversion. About, okay. Josh Colson, who's that? The inventor of FLAC? XF, okay, so there's some bunch of licensing stuff. You see the build and the version. I'm sure there's got to be somewhere where I can adjust the EQ, right? So this is just Android, right? So pressing, it's funny how the entire wallpaper is actually changed to the music that you're playing. So if I play like Ariana Grande, change back. Oh, it's not. Oh no, it does change. Okay, interesting. That's pretty cool. Is that a feature of this particular version of Android? So if I play a track here, this Van Halen, and go back, oh, that's cool. The entire wallpaper, not just of the music player, the entire wallpaper of the Android operating system changes to that. That's really interesting. Really cool, actually. Okay, I wonder if that's a custom version of Android that they did then to do that. Oh, here's where you adjust the EQ. Okay, so yeah, if you slide to the upwards, then you can see the entire playlist, and you can kind of edit the queue or save as playlist up there. And if you slide downwards, you get the EQ. And this is where you can kind of edit the EQ here. So you got your standard 10-band EQ to edit here. Okay, that's cool. You can save the EQ as something else if you want. Okay, I do like this interface. Yeah, it's really responsive. It's easy to use. I like the fact that yeah, whatever music you play, the Android background automatically changes to it. That's really cool. Okay, so yeah, that's the first DAP I'll be looking at in this video here. It's just kind of a throwback DAP for me, because my first high-resolution DAP was a Pioneer XDP-300R. So to get the 300R here, the successor, really the only difference is having an extra DAC chip inside of it. It uses two ES9018 instead of just one. Then pretty nice. I'm going to test it out, give you guys my impressions of the sound quality, because that's something I did not do in my original video, right? I didn't talk too much about the sound quality of the original XDP-300R back then, because it wasn't too much of an audiophile back then. A few other things about this player. If I swipe to the right here, I can find another screen where I can control the song, so that's nice. And you can see, yeah, some specs about the file that you're playing here: MP3, 44 kilohertz, PCM, 48 kilohertz. I can choose to activate line out from here, and so yeah, so there's a dedicated line out mode you can activate from there. Standalone mode, so it turns off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and LCD to cut off all electromagnetic signals besides audio. So that's interesting. If you just want to cut out a lot of the Wi-Fi interference and a lot of that, you can do that. And also probably saves battery life as well. Balanced mode, you can change it to ACG mode if you want. Just keep it on balanced here. And you can change it to, yeah, the song from like shuffle, repeat, and everything. You can change it from there as well. So yeah, you can start song, stop the song from here, go to the next track. Of course, you can do that with the hardware buttons as well, right? Yeah, and then if you open up the player, it's the same thing. You know, control it from here. Basically, this extra screen does control the player, so it is fairly integrated into the operating system as much as they can with Android anyways. It's not like a complete, you know, total overhaul of Android like Aston Kern does, but yeah. You still have like the freedom to install your own apps and everything. Although this is Android 5, you know, so a lot of the apps just won't work. You probably have to sideload them, like an older version of the app. So I did get like Spotify sideloaded, for example, and Tidal, but this is because I had to like install it from my computer. Yeah, normally if you download it from the Google Play Store, it just won't work because this is really old Android. But yeah. If you want to use this and use it for streaming, you can, but just be aware you would have to find an older version of Spotify or Tidal and install it on here, side-loading it, because you just can't go to the Google Play Store and install it because it's a very outdated version of Android. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, now let's look at the next player. Next player is also pretty interesting. By the way, this retailed for $700 brand new, the Pioneer XDP-300R, $700 US back in 2017. Okay, so now I have another digital audio player. This one is from 2018. This one is the Questyle, which is a Chinese audio company. They're mostly well known for making amplifiers and DACs, but they also made a digital audio player as well. So this one is called the QP2R, and guys can look at some of the specs here. What's unique about this one, I think this came out back in 2018. This has a patented fully discrete current mode amp, which is not common, I think. Most digital audio players use voltage mode for amplification, but this one uses current mode. So it's a little bit different with the way that it does the amplification. Has a pure Class A bias control system, so it runs in Class A all the time, which means it fully utilizes the amplifier all the time, not Class AB. Class AB means that, yeah, it's only going to spike the power whenever you need it, but Class A is like always using the fully utilizing the amplifier all the time. Full balance, 4 groups of independent amps to support 2.5 millimeter full balanced. Audio sample rate, PCM, DSD, internal storage, 64 gigs, and 1 micro SD. Yeah, and you got 2.5 balanced with 3.5, 2.4 inch IPS 400 by 300. Linux, so it has a custom operating system. Battery life 10 hours. Okay, and this retailed for $1,300 US back in 2018. Okay, so here is the actual box for it. We're going to do the unboxing. Now, I don't have the box for the Pioneer, but I do have the box for the Questyle QP2R. So let's take a look. And yeah, I believe this is... No, actually, this is not the only DAP that they made. They made a successor called the QP Master, I believe. Yeah, the QP Master, but that one's harder to find, and that one's a lot more expensive. And the DAC chip is technically the same inside of it. So, anyways, let's take a look here. All right, actually it opens like this. All right, so let's see what you get here. So on this side, you get USB-C to USB-A. So yes, this does use USB-C connector because it did come out a little bit later than the XDP-300R. Oops. And then it also comes with Is this an adapter? Oh, this is a, looks like an optical adapter. Interesting, with SPDIF adapter. Huh. This looks like an optical SPDIF adapter. That's really interesting. So this is like 3.5 to SPDIF adapter. Really interesting that it comes with this. I didn't expect it to come with 3.5 to SPDIF adapter. Okay, cool. Didn't expect that. And then in here, you get a microfiber. No, not a cleaning cloth. I thought it was a cleaning cloth. It's just a bag. So it's a cloth bag. Okay. It looked initially like a cleaning cloth. Nope, nice cloth bag though. But I would have preferred like a nicer leather case or something for this price. So you got to remember, $1,300. This is like almost twice the price of the XDP-300R. And I don't have the box for the XDP-300R, but yeah, I would expect at this price it would have came with something better, like a leather case or something. Okay, let's take a look. So this is a flagship level player for sure. Back in 2018, when this came out, $1,300 was, well, flagship level. I mean, the most expensive DAPs at that time would have been the low 2-pog Gold Touch that I have at $3,200, the Sony WM1Z at $3,200 as well, and the K&N8 also around $3,200. So that would have been the flagship competition. The Astone Current SP1000M, no, 1000 back then, yeah. So SP1000 came out, I think 2018 as well. So that would have been, yeah, the competition. So let's take a look. All right. So this is a pretty nice looking player. Definitely it looks a bit retro with the scroll wheel here. So that's a throwback to an iPod type of design here. A bit of a throwback. Okay, so what's unique about this one? It uses the current mode amp and Class A bias control system, which is unique to the Questyle. I don't think other DAPs do that. The DAC is an AKM AK4490, so that's not the flagship level DAC even back then. I think it would have been the 4497. Yeah, the 4497 is what the K&N8 and the low 2-pog Gold Touch was using. So it wasn't using the flagship AK DAC, but that's fine. I think that's not the main point of this player anyways. It wasn't the DAC. It was the current mode amplification. 64 gigs of internal storage, as mentioned. 10 hours of playtime. And yeah, outputs 70 milliwatts on the balanced and 38 milliwatts on the unbalanced. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, right? That's even less than the XDP-300R, actually. The XDP-300R was already pretty anemic with the 75 milliwatts on unbalanced and 150 milliwatts on the balanced. But this is even more anemic, only 70 milliwatts on the balanced and 38 milliwatts on the unbalanced. However, you'll see that that's kind of deceiving because of the current mode amplification system, it's actually a lot more powerful than that. Because yeah, every part of the amplifier is being used in Class A configuration, so it actually is a lot more powerful than what the specs say. And yeah, 2.4-inch IPS display right there. Weighs a decent amount. I think this is about the same weight, roughly. They're both pretty light. Yeah, it's about 200 grams, so really nice weight. Out of these two, I actually prefer the size of the QP2R more, because the Pioneer, I don't like to have like this kind of width a little bit too much. I know this is how like modern smartphones are like, but I don't like the width as much. Things it takes a little bit more to grip around, but the size is still fine for the XDP-300R. But the Questyle, this is the right size. I do like this size. This size is really nice, easy to grip, and we can go over the externals here. So this uses touch controls. So you got the menu and you got back. You got selection right here, and you got scroll wheel, which I think should work as selection. And then you got confirm right there. And then on top we have a volume dial here, which has guards to protect it. That's pretty nice. Not every DAP has that. I wish more DAPs would. Something that we saw on the Opus number 2 as well. And then we have the jacks here. So we got 3.5 millimeter and 2.5 millimeter balanced, as mentioned. 2.5 millimeter was another standard back then. Nowadays, because 4.4 millimeter is the balanced standard now, we have to use an adapter for 2.5. But yeah, back then 2.5 was fairly common among digital audio players. It is what it is for a device back then. Okay, and on the left side, you get previous track, play, pause, and next track here. All easy to hit with my thumb. On the right side, you get the power button and you get some kind of LED light for charging and for power. On the back it says Questyle Engineering. Yeah, it's unfortunate because Questyle does not make DAPs anymore. I believe the QPM or the QP Master was their last DAP, but nowadays they're more known for just portable and desktop class amplifiers and DACs. Yeah, they don't really make digital audio players much anymore. It says specifically current mode amplification because that's unique to this player, and DSD support there. And then on the bottom you have micro SD card slot, USB-C charging, and the serial number. So, yeah, pretty nice. I really do like the size of this player. The size and weight is actually really nice. So, yeah, let's turn it on, and actually I'll put in a micro SD and we'll turn it on to find out what the UI is like. Alright, so now I booted up the QP2R. We can take a look at it. It runs its own custom operating system. It's not a touchscreen, so you have to use the navigation buttons down here. Now, one thing I do have to note is that this wheel here is extremely stiff and is very hard to even move. See, like I had to really press down hard on it for it to even move. So I don't get what's with that. Like, I think it's better just to use the little navigational buttons down here. Yeah. So this click wheel is just, it's not designed very well. It's so stiff, very hard to move, and you can see just, yeah, it's really not that easy. Like, you have to like really press down on it to move it. So I rather just use the navigational buttons. Yeah, it's kind of a shame because the scroll wheel here, it's like, you know, it's right in the middle of the player. It's supposed to take up most of the space here, and it's supposed to be the main thing here that you use for navigation. Looks like an iPod, right? But nope. See this? I don't press down hard enough. I had to really press down hard on it to even try to move it. So it just doesn't work very well. So I'll just have to use the navigational buttons here. And you can press this button here to go into the settings at any time. So language, font size, cover, album display, change those settings. Gain, let's see, you can change from medium, high, or low gain. I just have it on medium right now. Bias is standard. You can change it to high bias if you want. I haven't checked the details of how different that is, but DSD gain, you can change that. EQ, you can turn that on or off, and you can have up to 2 EQ settings. Is that just 2 EQ settings? I guess that's it. Volume setting, you can have up to 120 steps of volume here. So, by the way, the wheel up here is pretty nice. It's like not exactly as nice feeling as like an Aston Kern or even my low Topoggle touch wheel, but it feels almost similar to like if you guys have used a Hibby or Hibby digital audio player or iBasso audio player, it kind of feels like that. So it's like it's decent enough. It just feels like a little bit loose, not too clicky, but it works well enough. And yeah, you can change it to 120 steps of volume, which I will change it to because it's more granular. Yeah, so change to 120, and then balance, that's left-right balance. Of course, you can change that as well. Hi-Fi hub analog out volume. So you can change that from adjustable to max if you use this Hi-Fi hub. I'm not really sure what that means actually. Hi-Fi hub output digital or analog. Okay, is that if you connect it like as a USB DAC or something? I'm not entirely sure what this Hi-Fi hub thing means. Okay, USB. So yeah, you can have in USB DAC mode or memory mode. Switch to memory mode. But you can use that as USB DAC, of course, if you connect it to a computer. Sleep time, you can change that. Yeah, 10 minutes, 0 minutes, or an hour. Update libraries auto when I insert SD card. Play mode, I can change the mode. Now it doesn't actually say, but you can kind of infer that it means by playlist, repeat once, or shuffle, or sequence. Gapless playback, this supports that, which is nice because some audio players, even modern ones like a Snowski Echo, doesn't even support gapless playback. So it's nice that it supports that. Breakpoint play track. Power on volume memory, you can change that from memory to custom. Custom power on volume. Okay, interesting. Volume direction, left max or right max. Okay, so this is like whether you want the dial to increase or decrease the volume depending on which, like on how you rotate the dial. That can matter if you're left-handed or right-handed. So it's cool they have that. Volume lock, you can change that backlight brightness, backlight time, always on, lock back and forward key is off right now. Flip function, okay, that's if the what functions are flipped or something. Touch sensitivity setting, standard. Low. Okay, so I thought there would be a high setting, because if this is about the click wheel here, then it's already pretty hard to press. So I already thought this touch sensitivity was low, but no, it's standard. Oh, man, okay. I wonder what low would be then, if I already have to press this hard on the wheel. Vibration, off, standard, or high. I guess I'm gonna change vibration on. Okay. Auto shutdown. Yeah, so now you hear a little bit of haptic feedback now when I press these buttons. Auto shutdown's on, format, reset, update firmware about QP2R. So right now it's firmware version 1.0.4. Of course it has 64 gigs of built-in storage. Oh, software is served by Hybe Music. Okay, it actually uses a version of Hybe OS. A custom version, I guess. Language, font size, cover, album display gain. Oh, this is like... Oh, okay. So this is like, if you want to choose which menu options appear, you can kind of change that too. So anyways, those are the settings which you can go into at any time by pressing this button. And then you have browse files, playlists, category, and playing. Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Also on top you have what kind of play style you're using, like sequence or repeat or shuffle. You have the volume that you have set at, and then you have battery life, of course. So let's look by category here. So go by artist. So go to Ariana Grande, for example. Okay, single, you can choose between single or album here. Choose single, and if I press that, and yeah, there's the album cover right there. So yeah, this is the music player. It's pretty basic, because this is a DAP that's a pure music player DAP, right? So it doesn't have any Android apps or anything that you can sideload or install. If you guys stream music, it's not going to work for this, because it's a purely offline music player with its own custom operating system. So yeah, play pause, you can do that here. If I do this, will it... Okay, should I even just bother using this wheel? This wheel is so hard to use. Okay, it looks like I can use the wheel to see lyrics or see more information about the song. Can I do that? Yeah, so I can see the lyrics, or I can see information about the song, which will display album, artist, bit rate, sample size, and stuff. Oh my god, this click wheel is so hard to use. It's so stiff. There we go. I'm just not going to use the click wheel. Yeah, it's really annoying to use. I'm just going to use these buttons here, which can mostly accomplish the same thing. Okay, so if you select the menu button from here, you can add to favorites. You can do add to playlist. You can select a loop or sequence or whatever, or we can delete it. Okay, so those are your different options there. Yeah, so again, those are your different options about the track. And then I think that's it for the track view right here. If I press back, I can also search by album or go by album, genre, or DS. There's no search functionality. You can only just select from here. So yeah, if you have a lot of files, you'll just have to select them one by one. No search functionality. You can select by DSD, genre, album, artist, or track. Track is just songs. Category, no, that is category. Playlist, you can go by your favorites or custom playlist here. Browse files is your folder browsing interface here. So let's go with SD card, and let's go with Beatles, Abbey Road. Yeah, select that. Okay, there's Beatles. So yeah, that's how it works. The UI is pretty simple and basic. I just don't like the fact that the touch wheel is so hard to use. Why did they make the touch wheel this hard to use, right? It's supposed to be the primary version, the primary way of navigating the interface, and they make it this hard to use. So I don't like the touch wheel here, or the scroll wheel. But yeah, that's that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simplistic interface. You can keep pressing back and then you'll go back here, or you can go to now playing, go back here as well. Pretty simplistic interface here. Again, I don't know why they made the scroll wheels so difficult to use, but I guess I just won't use it then. So yeah, I'm going to compare it with some other flagship players of that time. So what I have is Low-2 Pod Gold Touch, which is my main digital audio player these days. And compare it to that because that's another flagship digital audio player that would have been out at the same time in 2018, except this one costs $3,200. Has AK4497 DAC inside of it. I can compare it to the Sony WM1Z. That was another flagship player out at the time. Also gold colored. Although this is not oxygen-free copper. I think this is just gold colored, whereas the WM1Z is full oxygen-free copper chassis. Another $3,200 player here that's top of the line at the time, and compared to that. And KN8, I have another flagship player, which is, yeah, another $3,200 player, $3,300 player running AK4497. Also has a tube output, so that's pretty cool. So in compared to that, so now you have 4 different flagship level players from 2018, all at my disposal. So yeah, I'm going to test out the QP2R and tell you guys about what I think about the sound quality and power and everything. And I'm really curious about this because of the current mode amplification, which is unique to this DAP. So yeah, that's something that I don't think even modern DAPs have. It's just really kind of unique to the Questyle. So yeah, we'll check it out, and I'll give you guys my subjective impressions of this, and also the Pioneer XDP-300R. I'll see how these compare. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Okay, so after using these players for a bit, giving you guys my impressions of them. First of all, my testing equipment is, I have to use an adapter to 2.5 millimeters because I got 4.4 cables here. I'm using my in-ear monitors, which are the Nostalgia Audio Tesseracts. These are $3,700 in-ear monitors, which have become my main in-ear monitors for the past few months. So yeah, that's what I've been testing with. So the Pioneer XDP-300R sounds pretty good. I mean, the ES9018 chip is well detailed and a very neutral sounding chip, I would say. I've listened to this chip before on the Opus number 2, which I did an unboxing of before. So I kind of have an idea of just how detailed and neutral it can be when well implemented. Now, I would say that compared to the Opus number 2, I don't have that one anymore, but the Opus number 2, the interface of the Opus number 2, first of all, is just as good. I think they both have really good interfaces. I mean, this is Android, but so is Opus technically under the hood. And they're both really nice, fast, and responsive. So I do like the interface of both the Pioneer and the Opus. The Opus number 2 sounds just a bit more detailed for sure. And it's something that I would only notice when, just having these players side by side. But yeah, from my recollection, I believe the Opus number 2 sounded a bit more detailed to me with less distortion and noise in the background. The Pioneer sounds a little bit more congested feeling, but they both have kind of the same neutrality in the tone, and that's something I've come to expect from ESS Sabre chips. But the ES9018 is known to be, yeah, one of those chips that are fairly clean, analytical, neutral sounding. So that's what I've noticed with Opus number 2 and with the Pioneer XDP-300R now. I don't remember my impressions with the XDP-100R. That was like 10 years ago. But I can tell you that, yeah, my experience with Opus number 2, like a month ago, yeah, that one is a little bit more detailed with slightly better note separation and less noise in the background, so a little bit darker background. This one, a little bit more congested feeling, not as much separation on the notes, but it's a very minor thing, right? It's only something you would notice if you have them side by side. By itself, this came out in 2017, and honestly, so it's essentially like a reskinned Onkyo DPX one. I think, almost everyone who bought this player would have been satisfied with the sound quality back then. Still very usable even now, right? Because the interface is quite good. Like compared to a lot of music players now, like the Snowski Echo Mini has a horrible interface that takes a long time to use because it's kind of like a novelty type of form factor. The Hydits AP80 Pro X had a horrible interface as well. Even KN3 Ultra had a pretty horrible interface. Like there's a lot of digital audio players these days that are modern and they still have crappy interfaces when it comes to using. So I think the main thing is The sound quality of all these players are pretty good. Even the Pioneer, even though this is like almost 10 years old, still sounds pretty good, still holds up today. It would probably be like an entry-level player today. It wouldn't be $700 anymore. Like this at $700 back then would probably be like a $200 level player today. So this is like competitive with, let's say, Shanling M1 Plus, with the Hydits AP80 Pro X. This is what it will be comparative with in terms of sound quality. I think this is pretty much a similar quality to that. In terms of output power, it's actually not going to match up to a lot of modern digital audio players because it's not that powerful. But the user interface still holds up really well, and this honestly has a better user interface than a lot of modern players today, right? This is a pretty slick interface, and yeah, never gets laggy or anything. Loads music pretty fast. Honestly, yeah, it's pretty good. By the way, the volume on this, you can get up to 160 steps of volume. I felt like I had to go to about 80 for IEMs. So that tells you a bit about how powerful it is. So if you have full-size headphones, if you have 300 ohm headphones like Sennheiser HD100S or Audize LCD5s, you know, like pretty hard to drive planar magnetics, this is going to be not the best source for that. This is not really that powerful. I would say the main use case for this would be driving IEMs and like easy to drive headphones. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It is not that powerful. But at the same time, the best thing about this one, if you were to use it today, is the user interface is pretty slick, even better than a lot of modern digital audio players, as mentioned. And to be honest, this sounds better than some digital audio players today, even at the entry level. So if you look at the Sony Walkman A306, the entry level Walkman, this sounds better than that, I think. I think it sounds slightly better than the Fios or the Snowski Echo Mini and Snowski Disc. Those are fairly cheap audio players. Yeah, so it sounds about equivalent to a $200 player. Like I said, Shanling M1 Plus, Hydits AP80 Pro X, but this has a much better user interface than those. So if you guys are looking for, you know, a cheaper digital audio player, you can pick this up for about $200 nowadays, used, of course. Yeah, it's very comparable to a $200 audio player today. In terms of sound quality, and it has a much better interface. Like this interface is pretty slick. It's actually better than a lot of modern digital audio players at that price range. So I would say it's worth picking up, actually, if you guys are looking for a decent sounding digital audio player at a cheap price, because you can pick it up for about $200 used, and with a really slick, responsive interface. So yeah, I really do like the music player interface on this. And plus it's Android, so technically you can sideload some old apps onto it and it should work. Also, it's built fairly well and has a decent display as well. So I think it's a pretty nice looking display, even though it's not OLED or anything. The only thing is the output power is not that much. So for IEMs, it's okay. For some sensitive headphones, it's okay. But for harder to drive stuff, this is probably not the DAP for it. It's fairly weak in terms of output power. And also the 2.5 here, yeah, you're gonna have to use an adapter for that. But if you're using 3.5 or if you're okay with using an adapter, then it's fine. You know, most IEMs are 4.4 these days, so you pretty much have to use a 2.5 adapter. But other than that, yeah, if you guys are looking for a nice used digital audio player that sounds decent, equivalent to like a $200 music player today, but with a better interface and a bigger display, honestly, and a better display than a lot of entry-level digital audio players, then feel free to check out the Pioneer XDP-300R. I would say this is a past flagship level digital audio player, but still holds up well today if you just look at it from an entry-level perspective. Yeah, it just doesn't really have too much power, but it's fine and still built pretty well as well. And I think it's a good size too. It's like the size of an older smartphone, so that's cool. Okay, now what do I think about the Questyle QP2R? Now this thing actually really surprised me. It's actually extremely powerful despite the specs. So the specs definitely don't give you an idea of how powerful this is. So this current mode amplification, I don't know exactly the science behind it, why Questyle is one of the only digital audio players doing that. But yeah, like, to tell you guys how much power this has, so this is on medium gain right now, and I was driving my IEMs at about, let's see, what was my my level here. So yeah, this current mode amplification here is doing some kind of unique thing for sure. Actually, this is it's booting up a bit. Oh, okay. I just wanted to know like the volume step I was on exactly. Okay, 45, yeah. So 45 out of 120 was easily enough to drive my IEMs. So to give you an idea, the Pioneer was at, what, 80, right? This was about 80 out of 160 or something like that, right? Oops, I had to go back in the music player. Okay. Oh, this is like only when I'm playing something. Okay, let's play that. Okay, yeah. So 80, about 80 out of 160. This, I only needed to go to 45 out of 120 and on medium gain. So that's not even the high gain setting. And I was able to easily drive my IEMs. Not only that, but the IEMs, like the detail level of this is actually incredible. Like everything just sounds so much more forward when I use my IEMs with it. So that means that everything is just basically more detailed. So everything comes forward more. So this thing, it just feels like it has a lot more power behind it. So maybe that's what the Class A current mode amplification is about. It just feels like it has more power. And I think you can easily drive even Sennheiser HD100S using this thing, to be honest. It's definitely deceptively powerful. So also for comparison, I had my low 2 Poggle Touch, which has 500 milliwatts on this. I had this about, let's see, around 60. So had this around volume 60 and this volume 45. This has 500 milliwatts. This, like on the spec sheet, it doesn't even have 100 milliwatts, but in practice, this thing has actually probably more power than low 2 Poggle Touch. I would say it feels like it has about 700 milliwatts of power on it. And that's what it feels like to me, even though the spec sheet says as less than 100. The current mode, Class A type amplification on this thing is doing like some kind of crazy thing under the hood. It feels like it has more like 700 milliwatts of power, to be honest. It feels like it has a lot of power in it. So it's easily able to drive my IEMs and even my full-size headphones, like my Dan Clark Nora X is using it. And the sound is really quite detailed. And to be honest, comparing to some of the flagship digital audio players that are more expensive, like the low 2 Poggle Touch, right, $3,200, or the KN Innate, which was $3,200 as well, the detail that you get out of this is about the same as these two. It's just like if I compare them side by side, I might be able to hear a little bit less distortion and noise with these guys because they use AK4497, which have better specs on paper. This uses AK4490, so the specs aren't quite as good on paper. If I would listen closely, I would say, yeah, okay, these two have a bit less distortion and noise on them, a blacker background, but it's not such a huge difference. And the level of sound quality I get out of this thing is surprising, given both the price and the size of this thing and the power level. Yeah, it's actually pretty amazing. What if I were to compare it with, let's see, some other flagships? WM1Z. WM1Z is a very musical sounding player, but I would not say that in terms of actual spec performance and measurements, it doesn't actually perform as well as these two, but it does sound more musical. So that's the thing about Sony. Sony's more about the tonality than the measurements. WM1Z for sure sounds more neutral, more musical. Low 2 sounds more neutral-ish. And KN, if you use the tube output, will sound more warmer. The Questyle QP2R will sound more neutral as well, just kind of like the low 2. WM1Z, yeah, it's got more dynamics, sounds a bit more musical than both. If I were to compare it to another flagship, I didn't talk about this one yet, but the Ko-1 Planu S, that's another flagship that would have been available in 2017 or even 2018. This one has a PCM 1792A chip inside of it. Yeah, this one sounds a bit warmer as well. Whereas Questyle QP2R sounds neutral, does not sound, it doesn't really sound bright or warm, it just sounds fairly neutral-ish, but has really, yeah, the tonality is not like as colored as with some of these other players, except for the low 2. It actually does sound pretty close to the low 2 in terms of being neutral reference level. Maybe it sounds close to AK as well, although I never listened to the AK SP1000, so I can't really say. But from AK's house sound that I listened to before, it kind of sounds like an AK as well in terms of neutrality. Yeah, honestly, this thing at $1,300 competes with any of these players in terms of sound quality. Like you could say, okay, WM1Z is more musical sounding, sure. It doesn't sound quite as detailed though as the Questyle, to be honest. The WM1Z even though it sounds more musical, it doesn't sound quite as detailed as the QP2R. The Poggle Touch and the KN8, they're much more expensive as well. Honestly, sound quality is not too different between these. Like if I were to listen intently and closely, I would say, okay, this is maybe a slightly better, like blacker background and less distortion noise, but only if I really listen closely for that. This comes pretty close. And Planu S, I think that the Questyle actually beats it in terms of detail as well. Yeah, and this thing is like, this was like, what, $1,800 back in 2016 or whatever when it came out too. So you're talking about a $1,300 player back in 2018 that was very competitive with any of these flagship level players that were much more expensive. So it's pretty impressive, you know? So I have to give credit to Questyle here. Like, before I bought this player, I was interested in it because, first of all, the current mode amplification, and the second thing is, like, I read a lot of reviews saying how this really punches above its price at the time, and still does now, to be honest. Yeah, it really does punch above its price. Something I can't really say about the XDP-300R. I think the XDP-300R, $700 when it came out, okay, now it's probably competitive with, you know, entry-level $200 players. The Questyle is still very much competitive with flagship players, maybe even today. And it was definitely competitive with flagship players back then. So that tells you the sound quality level of the QP2R is really up there. Yeah, so it was bang for the buck back then at $1,300 because it competes with players like $3,000 plus. And still now, you can get it for about $500 used, which is how much I got it for. Yeah, still pretty competitive at $500, I would say. So yeah, if you guys get a Questyle QP2R at $500, this is a near mint condition, to be honest. It's not really even used condition, it's near mint condition. You can probably get it online. I got it from Japan for $500. Yeah, very, very competitive with a lot of players, even $1,000 today, I would say. You know, if I were to compare it to Astone Kern SR35, I think this sounds better than that. If I were to compare it with Low-T Pod Touch, what, PAW 6000, yeah, that's PAW 6000 has the AK4490. Yeah, I would say this is actually even better than the PAW 6000. And what else? Sony WM1A. I don't have the W1A AM2, but I do have the WM1A. This was like $1,000 back in 2017, so this would have been similar in price, I think. This one easily wins in terms of detail. I mean, musicality-wise, sure, you can make an argument for WM1A because that's Sony's thing about tonality, but pure sound quality-wise, I would take the QP2R over the WM1A as well. So this thing kicks a lot of butt for its price. The interface is the downside here because the scroll wheel is so difficult to use, and the interface is very basic and doesn't have a touchscreen. You can't use streaming apps and stuff with it. So I would say the interface and features of this DAP are not up there. That's pretty limited. But if you're talking about pure sound quality and power output, this thing is surprisingly good. Like, the power output is much higher than what you would see from the specs. In fact, I would say, yeah, it's equivalent to around 700 milliwatts of power, because it actually feels more powerful than really any of these. It's more powerful than any of these. That's how it feels like, right? WM1Z doesn't have too much power. It feels like this feels like 400 milliwatts on the balanced. Planu S also feels like 400 watts on the balanced. Lotus 500 milliwatts on the balanced. N8's 400 milliwatts on the balanced. Yeah, and obviously XDP-300R is weak. It's 175 milliwatts on the balanced. So this thing feels like it's 700 milliwatts on the balance. It feels like it's more powerful than any of these. In addition to that, how much it punches above its price range when it comes to sound quality is impressive. Like, the amount of detail and resolution that you feel from this player really is up to par with any of these $3,000 players, you know, and even beats some of them. It actually beats the Walkman and WM1C in detail. It beats the Cohen Planu S in detail. It's about equivalent to the Poggle Touch and the N8 in detail. So that's impressive, right? Yeah. Overall, I would say if you guys are looking for a pure music player, if you guys don't care about streaming, if you are okay with not having a touchscreen and just using, like, I guess, haptic touch buttons down here for navigation, listening to music offline, then this thing will impress. For $500 you can get it used these days. That's a really good price. You know, it actually kicks the ass of a lot of $500 players even today, right? Yeah, a lot of the modern $500 players, this will still beat it in terms of sound quality. Even if you go up to, like, past $1,000, I think it'll beat a lot of them. Like you talked about KN7. Yeah, I would say this is like fairly on par with that. And Acetone Current SC300, that was like around, to be honest, that was like $1,900 when it came out, but $1,000, let's say, on discount. Yeah, this beats SC300, I would say, in terms of sound quality. So yeah, that's what you're talking about here. You're talking about KN7 level player for $500 that you can get right now, and it's a lot more portable than the KN7. So yeah, look, it's just very, very light and portable, and I really do like the form factor. Yeah, so the main downside of this is just the interface and the hard to use scroll wheel here, that like it's for some reason very, very unresponsive for the scroll. You gotta press down really, really hard. Yeah, I don't know why. So that's kind of a pain in the ass, and the limited user interface and operating system. Other than that, the sound quality, if you're just talking about pure sound quality and power, this thing is really, really impressive. So yeah, that's it guys, Questyle QP2R. It's a shame that Questyle does not make any more players. I don't know why, since the QP2R is very, very competitive for its price at the time and even today. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm gonna have a sound comparison test of all these guys together, so you guys can kind of hear maybe if there's a difference or not. If you guys can kind of corroborate what I'm talking about. But for me, TLDR is XDP-300R. If you can find it for $200 today as a kind of a used music player, it's fine for that price. I would definitely not pay full price for it at $700, but $200, yeah, sure. Competes well with a lot of $200 players today, and even has a better interface than a lot of those. So I would recommend this at $200 today, and at $500, if you can find this one used, yeah, this one actually beats even a lot of players up to the $1,000 price range today. Like I said, it's actually probably on the same level as KN7, that's like a $1,900 player when it first came out. You can get it for around 800, 700, $800 today, and then you can get this for 500. This is yeah, still punching above its price range. So I would recommend, if you just care about sound quality, then this is really, really punching above its price and sound quality. Just the interface and the scroll wheel are not that great, but otherwise everything else, I mean, yeah, this thing has a lot more power than you would expect, and the sound quality is quite detailed and really on the level of like a $3,000 flagship level player back then. So pretty impressive. So that's it guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Wait for the sound comparison test I'll have of all these guys. And yeah, that's it. I like to just look at different digital audio players, both from the past and in modern times. And what can I say? I'm an electronics collector. And I'm also an audiophile. So I guess it kind of makes sense why I keep buying these digital audio players to compare them. I've always just been curious about their like similarities and differences, I guess. But yeah, guys, stay tuned for the comparison test, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching. So another thing I just discovered about the QP2R is there's actually a sound difference between the unbalanced and the balanced. Now, usually, the only difference would be the power output, but in this case, there's a sound difference, and that's curious because I have a lot of digital audio players. Usually, the only difference is power output, but the sound doesn't change too much. It's roughly like similar quality. But in this case, it's quite different. So all the qualities I described about the QP2R is with the balanced output, the 2.5 millimeter balanced. And if I use 2.5 millimeter balanced here, the sound is very neutral and detailed and clean sounding. So it's very flagship level, right? But when I switch to the 3.5 millimeter unbalanced or single-ended, this is when I kind of hear that, oh, this is the typical AKM 4490 sound that I associate with lower end DAPs. Like, yeah, AK4490 is not a flagship AKM DAC. Yeah, it's like kind of their mid tier, I guess. And on lower end digital audio players, they do use the AK4490, and it's been described as very warm sounding. So it's got the AKM warmth to it. The 4493 has this as well. But yeah, when I use the unbalanced, it doesn't sound as detailed anymore. It sounds a bit congested. Sounds very warm to me. And yeah, it's not quite as detailed anymore. So it's interesting. Like when I use the balanced 2.5, it doesn't sound like a typical AKM 4490. It sounds like yeah, like a flagship level 4497, to be honest. It sounds very neutral and detailed and clean. But then when I go to the unbalanced, that's when I hear, oh, this is the typical 4490 that I experience with lower end DAPs. That you got that less detailed, very warm, not as neutral anymore, and I don't get the same amount of clarity that I get from the bounce jack. So that's something I want to know. I don't know why there's a big difference in sound between these two, but yeah, there is a big difference in sound. So just be aware of that. If you use the 3.5 millimeter unbalanced output, it's going to sound much more warmer, not quite as detailed. If you use the balanced one, it sounds much more detailed and cleaner and neutral. So yeah, so all the sound quality I described, this comparing to $3,000 flagship DAPs, is with the balanced output. Using the unbalanced, and then it kind of comes closer to the actual price of this DAP, I guess. It's not bad sounding, it's just much warmer and not quite as detailed with the unbalanced. So anyways, don't know why there's such a big difference. Usually the only difference would be just power, but no, in this case there's a sound quality difference as well. So just want to mention that.
The sun is setting and you're right here by my side, and the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crashing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held The sun is setting and you're right here by my side, and the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crashing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew. The sun is setting and you're right here by my side, and the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crashing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crashing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crashing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crashing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching. watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you.
Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. Another road where maybe I could see another side there. Ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. Another road where maybe I could see another side there. Ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find. There, another road where maybe I could see another side. There, ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find. There, another road where maybe I could see another side. There, ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find. There, another road where maybe I could see another side. There, ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. what I would find there. Another road where maybe I could see another side there. Ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. Another road where maybe I could see another side there. Ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. Another road where maybe I could see another side there. Ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life.